All right, hello everyone, and welcome to a little bonus video we added in. This is to kind of troubleshoot some problems that we ran into while building the train and kind of just throughout using Inventor throughout the school year. Now, many of you have probably noticed that I reference a we all year, which is, that is correct. I mean, you have only heard my voice, but there is another person, the genius behind this, who has been doing a lot of this constraining and building for you. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Anil.
And yeah, so that's Anil. He's been helping me with a lot of this, so I want him to get some credit too. But anyway, this is our video where we will be explaining to you just some of the issues that we encountered throughout the year. Now, I wish I could demonstrate some of these, but it's very hard to set them up unless you just get unlucky. So I'll just kind of mention some problems and let you know either what we did or how we got about to fixing them. So, first up, and probably the most common problem people run into, assuming they follow our videos correctly, is that the train will move around the track like so, but the wheels will spin backwards. Or the train will move backwards and the wheels will spin forwards. In other words, it's all not really lined up. So what you want to do is simply go over to 3D model like so. You want to open up your parameters. Note, we have crank, and we have this fancy equation. You may notice it says real crank. Doesn't matter. That's just a little added bonus we did. But that won't actually change anything for you. So you may notice if your wheels are spinning the opposite direction, all you may need to do is change that real crank to a negative real crank. And what this will do is invert the direction it's all working. And if that still doesn't fix the problem, the other thing you may do is go way, way back to the video where I was showing you how to constrain the wheels and train together so that it could drive, even though it wasn't on the track at that point. And what you do is, back then, angle number 4, the crank angle, where you had to set up the particular relationship with the back left wheel and the back of the train, you simply flip that. You either make it negative or you switch the order. You can try both. You can try one. You can try neither. And either way, one of those 3 things should fix any errors you are having with direction. So that's a pretty common one. Now, another problem you occasionally get, let's see. If I'm going to open up my relationships here, you may notice that some of these have that little yellow arrow. What that means is that at some point during something, when you updated something or saved something, it didn't work. If you ever see these little arrows, that means it's not going to work. It just won't. It can't. So, like, for example, if I were to drive right now, I can't even click on it. It's not possible. You see this little recover button? You may totally click on it if you want, but I suggest you don't. Honestly, if you see those, you want to hit undo until you don't see them because they're very difficult to deal with. I went through all this really annoying stuff once, and it still came out not working very well. Another big problem that many people ran into is they would constrain their train correctly, they'd get it going around the track, and you'd run into one of those little issues where it says, cannot solve for point at this point. And so you'd get a little error message, your train would stop driving. And here's what we have to say to that. So there's kind of several things. A, if it does that, if that message comes up before your train has moved at all, then there is something wrong. I'm not sure what. It would depend on what you did, but I suggest you just start over from the constraining the wheels and back of the train together video and just redo that. By that point, you'll probably be able to do it pretty quickly, especially if it's after your first time. And that should hopefully solve it. The second possibility, or case, I guess, is if you get that message after your train has been driving around the track for a little while. If it is made one full circuit, then that's just a little... if your train's made at least one full circuit, one full 360 degrees, that's just a little bug in Inventor. There's not much you can do about it. You can just close down Inventor and restart it. Should be fine. However, if it doesn't go all the way around, what I suggest you do is go back to the point at which the train is not constrained to the track, but, you know, the track's still built and the train still has all of its angles, all that, and just restart from there, perhaps just trying to put the train on the other way. So, for example, if you remember how we had you do that flush constraint on, or sorry, not flush, mate constraint from the side of the pivot, which is not visible right now, which is in fact actually why all these are sick. The pivot is not here. But if you go the side of the pivot to the side of the train, You can really do that either way, which sets up whether your train goes around counterclockwise or clockwise. Um, so if you end up getting the problem when it goes around maybe 3/4 of the way before that little warning sign pops up, go ahead and just undo a bunch and then put the train on the other way. And then my last little bit of advice, very large thing that Anil and I ran into while helping other students this year was that a lot of people don't realize that honestly the negative sign can oftentimes be your best friend. It will fix many problems. If something looks really bad, just try putting a negative in there, see if it fixes it. Maybe it doesn't, but it usually will. When it comes to the arbor press, which you might be doing later, that negative sign is going to be very important. It'll relate to the rotational motion and all that. So just remember that although math and society may have taught you that the negative sign is not a great thing, in this case it actually is. It solves some of the biggest problems, especially in parameters. But above all, if you're having trouble, you can always just go up here. You can type in a problem. You can always go to the little help bar right here. It's reasonably useful. And good luck. If you have any questions, Mr. Tobin does have a packet in his room. Unfortunately, that packet is not particularly up to date. This video will probably be more helpful, except for a few entries at the end of the packet at which Anil and I discussed in depth a few very, very specific problems. So if you have a problem you just don't understand and can't figure out, go ahead and take a look at that packet. It should be able to help you. But above all, just experiment around and you should be able to get through pretty much anything. Thank you.